You need to know
This is who I am.
where it began,
Vryheid was
so that you
originally
can
white.
continue forward.
I am
My
Jane.
aim in life is to have God as a plan for you.
In this insert, we spend time with Tracy and her family.
We are confronted by some of the fears that some white people had on the eve of the first democratic elections.
Hi, my name is Yonela.
And I'm Zianda, and this is African Identities.
Before '94, we were worried, especially the Afrikaans-speaking people. We were in this safe environment, and then there was the election, and everybody thought that we were going to be chased out the country, but we were worried about something that was not going to happen.
I've noticed the children, they're colorblind. Majority of the kids coming down the road are colorblind. They laugh and shout and arms around one another.
I was at the school before the same school before '94. We didn't have any learners of color. Now we're 85% of color and 15% white. And obviously there are changes. There's cultures that are different.
People need to know where they came from to be able to move forward. We can't just live in that all of a sudden the history books are only starting from apartheid. Lots of things happened before apartheid.
The way that it's done may be not right, but I think change is there. And talking about school itself, my personal feeling is that one of the biggest wrongs that we did before '94 was education. I think that if we had educated our people right, we would have had much less problems than what we have now. Other things we can debate, but education, and that's why we're behind. But we're learning.
Moving forward in the right direction.
Yes. There are still people living in the past. Definitely.
Well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Go about old dog new tricks. It's about people that need to get on board so that we all move in the same direction.
I was born in 1961. I grew up in apartheid. We just became a republic. And I tell my learners every day, for us it was not wrong because that was the way of life that we had. But 20 years now, I can see and we can see there were a lot of wrongs done. And we must just guide against it falling to the other side. That's all I'm worried about, that we do it the right way. And that's why I have so much respect for Nelson Mandela.
Ngesinye isikhathi siyakhohlwa ukuthi noma abantu bewuhlanga olulodwa kodwa amasiko wabo awafani. For instance, Tracy is English and Sven is Afrikaans, and that presents challenges of its own.
My husband and I are both white South Africans, and our cultures are different. He grew up Afrikaans and I grew up English. We have different views on things. You can't let traditions and cultures stop you from being yourself, because then we're all going to be living on the straight and narrow of our own roads, and we're never going to integrate 100%. I think it's important that we, at every opportunity, we get to experience another culture or another tradition. In my Polish ancestry, they don't have birthdays, they have name days. And that was quite interesting to me. And I, you know, when I heard that, I wanted to hear more and more and more. And every person needs to know where they come from, because that's the foundation of who you are, and you can build from that. You don't necessarily have to take on cultures or beliefs, but you can be your own self and build on that. I know my descendants are from Poland, and we've researched it quite far back. Although I've never been to Poland, they tell us we have royal blood, blue blood, so that's good, I'll have that. But we are individuals, and you can have a foundation to build on, knowing your roots. We all need to know where we come from, because you can be lost. I see that with people who are adopted. They're happy with the people that have a family with, but you need to know where you came from. You don't really have to have a connection or a relationship with that person, but you need to know where it began so that you can continue forward. Balancing different cultures, I think, is a daily exercise, and being ourselves English and Afrikaans, there's lots of our traditions that are very similar, but we've made them one so that it's our family's tradition. The Afrikaans tradition in our family is on Christmas Eve you open your gifts. In our tradition is growing up in an English home, we opened our presents on Christmas morning. So there's differences. So what we do is with our children, we allow them to choose one gift the night before, and then the next day they were allowed to open the rest. I've also taught my children to accept other traditions. It's if you're going to keep yourself focused just on what you do and not what else is, you're not going to fit in, because not everybody is going to be the way you are or the way you see things. You know, they talk about the old South Africa and the new South Africa. I don't remember the old South Africa because I was a young girl. Years before it was, I remember being a young child still at school. We lived in Winterton, and there used to be an alarm that went off at night, and then all black people had to be out of town, and I could never understand it. And I asked my parents this question of why is it like that. She says no, they have to be out of town because they live in separate locations. And it was amazing for me that, you know, that they could do something like that. But we were never part of things like that. And I think people my age group, we were in the apartheid era, but we weren't part of it. If I think now that they wouldn't allow the children to go to school to be educated, and there were lots of people that weren't afforded the opportunity to be educated, is a very sad state of affairs, because some of those people are now in our government, and I think they carry a lot of grudges, and that's stopping them from opening up for the children that are coming, that are going to be the future. And to make a strong country, you need good health, good education, and security, and we're failing in all three at the moment, and it breaks my heart. I would say living in Vryheid, things have changed since 1994. I must say I had the opportunity to work at that election in our town, and it was amazing to see how many people are actually in this town that pass through to make their cross for the change. But we need to step back and be the change we want to see. Because if it doesn't start with us, it's never going to happen. When I think of if it's changed for the good or for the bad, at the moment I'm more inclined to move to the bad because of the greed. Everybody thinks that, you know, you have to have this, and if you can't afford it, just steal it. Or, you know, it's sad to know that people are watching their backs the whole time, and it's not necessary. The government should be following up on the promises they make, and I think they build sand castles in the sky, and then a storm comes and washes it all away, and the people don't know how to cope with that. Children, amazing. I don't think there was many interracial relationships, not because the children, there's an Afrikaans high school and a English Afrikaans high school. I think the Afrikaans high school and the junior schools being language orientated, that stopped the children getting together. Now that like at the bilingual school, it's multiracial and the kids get together more. It's a wonderful to see a black child and a white child or an Indian child or a colored child walking in the street, and they're not, you can see they're not seeing a color issue. It's their friend, and there's no boundaries. There's lots of things that can be made right in this country, small things. It's not you have to have millions to do this. You just need to have compassion.
Ngiyathemba nisithandile isitori sika Tracy.
And I hope you managed to clean a thing or two. Until next time, goodbye.